Hello lads and lasses, TRZ Plays here, and since I've ranked tier 4 battleships like a month ago or something like that, time flies by when you're having fun doing YouTube videos, we are going to be ranking the tier 4 cruisers. Now, you might ask, you've been doing a lot of ranking videos, and to that I can pretty much agree. So next video will be a different game, as I've promised many times. So without further ado, and without me rambling, let's get on to today's video. Okay, time to go into exile because number 7 I put Émile Bertin. Now, before you've seen some of my videos where I put Omaha and Emerald as some of the worst ships I've played, then I realized Omaha isn't so bad. Emerald is meh. Émile Bertin is. Now, the main problem I have with it is good luck countering battleships with this thing. Countering battleships, impossible. If you manage to counter destroyers with this despicable creation known as a cruiser, is alright, unless you happen to meet a Soviet destroyer like Podvoisky or Nievny. In that case, do svidania. Meaning, Émile Bertin serves zero purpose against destroyers. Now, there's a lot of reasons why I could keep on ranting about the French cruiser line being abysmal, apart from maybe Charles Martel and Algerie, and I'm literally speechless when I mention this thing. So let's get on to our number 6 spot. So the number 6 spot was a bit disputed for me, but I decided to go with Emerald instead of Omaha. Now, hear me out. Emerald isn't as bad as most people think it is. Now, the problem is, when I played it, I've had shit games in it, and I'm not going to censor that out because I'm being 100% honest. With Emerald, there are a lot of problems. Gigantic Citadel being an only armor-piercing shooting ship. As a ship like that, you're just screwed. Compared with other cruisers that have HE and AP, not just AP, Emerald lags behind. Granted, it has a heal, but a ship at tier 4, especially a cruiser at tier 4 with a heal, that just shows how meh this ship is. I put it at 6 because I didn't think it's as bad as Émile Bertin. This thing's torpedoes are amazing, especially when you're up close with knife fights, but don't get too close, especially to battleships. That's not recommended. So, Emerald, I love you, but not so much at the same time. Number 5 spot, middle of the road in my opinion, I'd go for Omaha. Now, this list is obviously on my opinion, but when I mentioned that I barely like Omaha, doesn't mean I absolutely hate it. Granted, I put it on my worst ships list. Congratulations, you caught me. But the main reason why I put it on that list is because you can get depth struck by literally anything, even a destroyer, which is what makes Omaha a bit of a nightmare to play. But apart from that, apart from the gigantic citadel, it's a great ship. It's a great ship. It's not mediocre. It's not as mediocre as some certain ships, Italian cruisers, but when you look at it from my perspective, it's a great ship if you want torp kills. It's also a great ship for taking out DDs, like most American cruisers. But that citadel is its main issue, and it's paper-thin armor. And having, I believe, like 10 millimeters of armor on the front bow, that means literally an Omaha can overmatch its own armor. If you shoot an Omaha or a Marblehead, which is just the same ship, if you shoot that directly, like in the nose, you have a chance of overmatching the nose and hitting the citadel. And let's not mention the fact that Omaha Citadel is about the same size as the entire interstate. So, Omaha, I love you, but not as much as some other ships on this list. Okay, so now we are going to talk about the Königsberg. Now, Königsberg, at 4, I find it a bit reasonable. I would put it at 3, but since this is my opinion, I'm placing them on my favorite ships to play. So, Königsberg, what do I like about it? Well, it's great HE. It's also, again, great for taking out DDs like most cruisers. And it's torpedoes. Now, granted, they are a bit slow, the torpedoes. Okay, it's an exaggeration when I say a bit, but just pity me. Now, there is only one way you could actually nuke a Königsberg. One is if it shows its side, but then you have another one, which is when the Königsberg turns, you fire. Now, Königsberg, I wouldn't bash it too hard. It was actually one of my first tier 4 cruisers. Well, ignoring Kirov. But if I were to place it, I'd place it at number 4. It's not one of my favorite ships to play, but when I do play it, I take it out and have a good laugh with it. So it's not a bad ship. It's a very fun ship to play. So, time to get hunted out of the community with pitchforks and torches. Now, Montecuccoli at number 3. This list is my opinion, as I said in the beginning of the video. Now, why did I put it this high? Well, appearance, it's beautiful. Speed, amazing. Guns, brrrt, except when it comes to reloading. Crawling smoke, great for running away, even though that's a French gimmick. Pretty much it for Montecuccoli. It's just an Italian Budione, except at tier 4. They look the same. They just look the same. If you have a picture of Stockholm Budione and Montecuccoli, they just look the same, since Italian cruisers inspired the Soviet ones. Now, if I'm just gonna bash Montecuccoli, I'd say its armor is just pathetic. I mean, I've actually managed to smash Montecuccoli's with my Nikolai and Cesare, let alone a battleship like Ismail, meaning good luck if you're gonna try and survive in the Montecuccoli. But its appearance-wise, it's great. HE, it's alright. Armor piercing, nothing out of the ordinary. So Montecuccoli is just a middle-of-the-road cruiser that if you're probably planning on grinding the Italian cruiser line, and I know you won't, it's a fun ship to play at tier 4. And tier 4 is best tier. Low tier in general is just best tier for any ship. So Montecuccoli at number 3. Can't wait to see the reactions in the comment section. Meet the ship that is so obvious to be at number 2 that you just don't even need to mention it. Kirov. Now, what is there to say about Kirov that hasn't been said? Great HE, can rifle that of a flamethrower, especially the ones from like the MK2 flamethrower from Vietnam. Its armor, okay, but there's one ship in particular, well, ignoring battleships, there's one ship in particular that can punch through the nose armor of the Kirov. And destroyers could citadel this from the side, since its side armor might as well just be empty space. But Kirov, great for pissing off battleship captains. Now, destroyers, even better. But the problem with it, 13 to 12 second reload, it really isn't gonna help you much there, buddy. It really isn't. But overall, Kirov is great battleship propellant, apart from the ridiculously long reload for a cruiser. But what else is there to say? It's a great up close quarters ship. Armor piercing is alright. It's basically a battleship in cruiser size. I mean, just like Grafspee, except Grafspee is obviously 10 times better, because that thing's tier 5 and has 11-inch guns. So, Kirov, number 2, to be expected. Now, we're gonna get to my number 1 pick. Oh my god, wait, what? Japanese ship at number 1? I haven't been expecting that. Well, okay, now I'm not gonna beat a dead horse anymore. The Furitaka is probably the best cruiser you could play at tier 4. It can overmatch any cruiser. It has the biggest guns of any cruiser at tier 4. It just has. Now, it's slow lumbering, horrendous torpedo range, and big guns. What does that remind you of? That's right, battleships. You play this thing like a battleship. Well, try not to play it too much like a battleship, because then again, you don't have an infinite healing pool. And you don't even have heal in general. And Furitaka, excellent for anti-cruiser work. For battleships, it's great. You can just fling HE at them till they burn to a crisp. Or you could do a banzai charge and just fling torpedo after torpedo. Furitaka obviously is going to take the number 1 spot. It has the biggest guns of any cruiser. Its speed is lumbering at best. Torpedoes are perfect for up-close combat, for knife fighting. When I play Furitaka, I always go for up-close combat. Now, it's a great ship for taking on any cruiser. It's great for taking on certain types of battleships. But as a ship in general, Furitaka, I don't have that much to say about it. It's a great ship, and it should be a great ship. It should be. Now that is my list. If you have your own, please write it down in the comments so I can review it. And that's all I can say. Good luck to you all, goodbye, and I will see you all on the high seas.